It's YouTube Wednesday! Krampus art doll. Okay, normally I make almost everything from scratch, and you could certainly make yourself a doll form out of ceiling hanger wire or coat hanger wire. That wouldn't be a problem. But I will post where I got this one. I like these because they're bendable. I played with them a little bit, but these are pretty wonderful. So I like them, I like the professionalness of them, and I like the speed of them. It saves me a lot of time and energy if it's something that I'm fabricating. We're going to make head, hands, and feet for this guy, and then simply fur him for a nice little Krampus doll figure, totem, whatever. All right. Just like that. This one I have saved to go through here and wrap around itself. But I'm not going to do that yet because I want to work on the head. And I think that this is a good side for the face. If I make the head, I can make the hands in proportion with the head. That's a little block of foam. And I put some T-pins in it, sticking up, so I can stick things on there as I work on them. And the head has its own little piece of wire to stab in there when I am working on it. I'm going to use some epoxy putty. This is a slightly different type.
I'm going to stop myself right there. This putty it's an epoxy putty, but it's the wrong stuff. Use this, use steel stick. It took me 10 times longer than it should have. This stuff was sticky and nasty. I had to add powder to it to stiffen it up. Just avoid it and use the steel stick epoxy. I have my head. It is firm now. Took longer than I had hoped, but there it is. I have my horns. They are hard, and they're ready. And I have the two hooves that I made with a hot glue technique right here. So I'm going to clean them up, and then I'm going to use these guys for the hooves. And here are the hands, which I made out of the far superior 5-minute epoxy. These guys were ready to go fast. I'm going to attach the head first, so I don't have the horns in the way. Then I'll attach the horns, and then I'll attach the hands and such to put it through the hole that comes in that set. Just like that. Now his head is attached. I'm going to use a little bit of super glue gel to hold these hands on. I don't buy big things of super glue because I find that it will dry up or rot before I use it. Or worse, leak. Doing a little bit of hot glue to hold it while the super glue dries. And then I'll go ahead and glue on the horns. And these I'll probably just have to hold in place. So these feet will work fine, but I want to fill them up so they're solid. I can only do a little bit of hot glue at a time because it will melt my my other hot glue and change the shape.
Where'd those feet come from? It's simply hot glue that I drizzled over a clay that I shaped. That's it. Then I pulled the clay out. That's simple.
So to attach the hot glue feet that I made, I'm actually going to fill this little hole with hot glue and then push this guy onto there. I think that will be the best way to do it. Then I can reinforce that on the outside. But I definitely want there to be an interior component to that, as well as an exterior component. And I'm going to build up all around here with hot glue also, because that's all one piece. And that'll just be the foot joint. Okay, let's do the other foot. My guy is on there, and see how I kind of made a whole ankle, gave him a little high top boot. This is him with 2 hoofed feet, little claw hands, and his head is on. So let's get a base paint on before we fur, and we'll do all the detail furring after we paint it. So I'm just going to hit this guy's hooves and hands and head with a coat of primer that I can do a stain on top of later. Okay, let him dry for a bit, come back. Okay, let's do one more coat. Let him set for 20 more minutes, and then we'll fur him up. So this is my little Krampus doll here with his arms are on, his legs are on, and he's been primed. I'm going to go ahead and get him covered in fabric, fur, so that he is a happy little Krampus. And I'm just going to use strapped fun fur. This is my hair direction. I'm going to make a note of that. Going to make a few little arrows here to tell me what direction the hair is going. Yeah. And the fur is going to do a good bit for bulking him up as well. And I might even put a little bit of it right here as a little belly. I'm going to do each arm and leg individually, and then I will do the body. Seems pretty wide, but I'm going to do about a 4-inch, about a 4-inch piece for each leg. And that is just going to go like this. I'm going to get that interior piece here, and I will go ahead and I will nip off these corners. So it's like a little pair of chaps. Then I can rotate that a little bit so that seam is on the inside. And I'm going to do that again. Put a little bit of glue down here to hold that down. Sometimes dogs need scritches. Once again, I'm just going to glue up this to the wrist. This time I'll do the insides, then I'll flip it and do the outsides. He's going to be fun. Okay, I have a little shape here that I'm going to cut out. Now this pattern, I'm just making up. I'm doing stuff that I hope will work. So let's see how it goes. What I'm saying is, you don't need a pattern. Just figure it out. That's what I'm doing. Science it out. If it doesn't cover, look how much fabric I have. I'll cut a new one. I've just made a big patch for the back of the head, and I'm going to slit that to go around the horns and around the ears and pull up a little bit on the face, and I think that'll do it. Okay, that is our little doll. Let me get him painted up. I'm just going to use some acrylic on this for now. I'm just mixing up a good color for the hooves so that I can get that on there. This color is also going to be good for the horns, I think. Okay, so now I have his horns and his hooves painted, and I'm going to let those dry before I work on the face and hands because they're getting treated so similarly. While we're waiting on that paint to dry, let's thank our patrons on Patreon. More about that later. Thank you guys very much for helping support content on this channel. So I have him, my little feet are dry, my little horns are dry, and I'm going to go ahead and do a rub out for his hands and his, face. I'm going to use the same two colors, basically this nice mustard tan and a little bit of black. And this time I'm going to actually add a little bit of water to get these a little thinner. So I want to paint this on everything and then wipe it off, the same way we do a rub out with alcohol-based paint.
have some paper towel here, which is a shop towel that I'm going to use for the rubbing off bit. There we go. Now that's nice and thin, but it's mixed. And I'm not worried about getting this in the fur. Like, it's going to happen. It's okay. I don't mind it. I don't think he, you know, we're not dealing with a shower twice a day, Krampus. See how it's going everywhere? Just going to get it on there. Then I'll take a towel, paper towel, and try to clean it off, like putting it on there was an accident. It's called antiquing, and I do have a video on antiquing, because I have that white underneath. The tan will sort of stay in the deep areas, and I will get this fairly nice skin look. The other hand, then we'll do the face. Now you could paint all of these pieces before you glue it together. You certainly could do that. I want to make sure I have the option of painting any glue that shows, so I didn't. Also, I like to be done when I finish painting. Like, that's like when I finish painting, I'm finished. So for my mentality, I want painting to be the last thing that I do. So in most projects, I assemble and then paint. I'm going to put a little bit on the hands here, spread that out. I'll even thin that with a little bit of water so it's thinner, and I'm just going to hit and mat up this fur. I tend to prefer a browner Krampus, but I used a gray fur. This will give him a nice variegated color, and that paint's very thin. It's very thin on my hands, so it's not like it's going on there and going to make this stiff by any means. I think that's one thing that people don't do enough with hair and fur and stuff, is that they're kind of afraid to do too much with it. But paint it, you know, paint it, make it your own, make it awesome. And I am changing his hands here so I can paint these fingernails. And I'm going to hit the fingernails, and I'm going to paint his eyes and the teeth. Make sure where I'm putting the paint is dry. And this could be a Q-tip. These are like special arty Q-tips. I love these things. Time has passed. It's drier. I wouldn't say it's dry, but it's drier. I gotta pop some teeth in there. And I'm using the paint to define where the teeth are. And while that sounds a little silly, I got a vague sculpt going on. So if I want a tooth somewhere that there isn't one, I'm just going to paint it there. And that'll be okay. Here we go. Now we have a little Krampus with some teeth. I'm going to lengthen these teeth over here. Again, they're not sculpted that way, but I want them longer. So I'll just do a little paint. So this little fun Krampus art doll is done, and you know, you can see his little hands with claws. He's just a fun little posable doll. He's gonna be here with me on my tree for just a little while, and I'm gonna send him to his new home. Where is his new home? Well, I'm not sure yet, because I'm gonna be giving him away on Patreon. So if you are a supporter on Patreon, if you are one of my patrons on Patreon, then I'm just going to pick one, and doesn't matter the level. I'm going to treat them all equal for the purposes of this giveaway. and we will mail this little guy out to one of them, just as a thank you. If you do enjoy the channel and you like seeing what we do here, and you want to support the channel in that way, I won't be doing this until January 10th. So you have plenty of time to join Patreon as a supporter, and I would greatly appreciate it. What happens when any money made on Patreon goes into helping the shop. It's not something where I'm going to get rich, but it might help pay the shop's electric bill. I'm about to get a new laser cutter. It'll help me with the monthly payment for that. There's some things that the shop needs, and that money is going to help fund those positive changes. So thank you guys all, and I'll do little things for them, as well as I post a thought of the day video there just about every day. And while that's kind of small, it's a real nice way to engage with people, and I'm really enjoying that. But anyway, you've heard me ramble for a long time. Thank you guys so much. Make one of these. Do something fun. It could not be simpler. You saw how easy it was. And Merry Christmas. Go make stuff. Don't forget our Stilt Beast Studios live channel. Live videos have moved. I no longer do live videos on this channel. Those can be found on the Stilt Beast live channel. And Merry Christmas!